What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about Night Terrors #2 by Joshua Williamson and Giuseppe Camuncoli. So this one, I'm doing something very different than what I've done with the previous two videos, and I'm saying this because if you watch the most recent episode of the Blerd Cave, which, by the way, live streams every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, one of the things that came up during the questions section, or maybe some other various point in the show, was night terrors. And something that I thought about was, I'm not enjoying every aspect of it. Yeah, of course I'm not enjoying every aspect of it. Very rarely does anyone enjoy every aspect of anything they check out. There's always going to be something that you probably don't like about something. And I found myself feeling that way with Night Terrors. I like parts of it, but a lot of the tie-ins honestly just always feel kind of especially these last couple of weeks. Like, for the most part, starting pretty strong, I liked a lot of the tie-ins with Night Terrors, but after the second week, we got into week 3 of Night Terrors, I started finding myself liking them less and less, to the point where I didn't even really want to talk about some of them. Instead of forcing myself to talk about them, I'm just not gonna. And I'm gonna be brutally honest, I didn't really like any of the tie-ins this week for Night Terrors. I only really enjoyed the core issue, and I feel like that's a scary proposition because we only have 2 more core issues of Night Terrors left before we get to the finale of it. So yeah, depending on what this next crop looks like, I probably won't speak very much on a lot of the tie-ins for this comic, just the core issues themselves, because I feel like DC is just trying to chase the absurd number of tie-ins that Blackest Night had, which, for those that don't know, Blackest Night had an absurd amount of tie-ins. But what I wanted to focus on in this issue were a couple of things that came up regarding Insomnia. Those things being the connection that John Dee and Insomnia had in the DC Comics universe prior to John Dee's death. The reason why John Dee and Insomnia have a connection is largely, as one might guess, because of their powers, the things that they're able to do, the nature of who they are, with John Dee being someone who tried to master the Dreamstone, and with Insomnia being someone who has gained power over nightmares. We learn more about the actual reason why they were connected to one another, and while it does have a little bit to do with some of the things I just mentioned, it actually had more to do with the fact that their doctors tried to use them in an experiment with one another to try and see if they could get Insomnia to respond. Now, by this point, the Lazarus Reign has not exactly occurred yet. We learn that the reason why Insomnia has the name Insomnia is largely because it's heavily implied that he doesn't sleep. He actually suffered from insomnia before coming to Arkham Asylum, but because of the nature of how he responds when he is awake to certain stimuli, his doctor in Arkham Asylum has imposed a strict sleeping regimen on him to keep him from being awake. If you go back to Night Terrors #1, there's even a shot where we see a door leading to his room that says, "Do not wake." So when they call him Insomnia, it's kind of a misnomer. One of those things that's used very tongue-in-cheek to describe who he is, but it's not meant to be a cute nickname that Insomnia is supposed to enjoy. It's meant to be more of a pejorative than it is anything else. And the reason why he has lulled the world to sleep is largely because of the treatment that he received in Arkham Asylum. I mean, yeah, because he also wanted to find the Nightmare Stone, because also in a roundabout way, it was kind of like a bit of getting revenge. And both Insomnia and John Dee's doctor wondered if maybe getting the two in the same room with one another, getting them to interact with one another, would lead to Insomnia actually getting out of the funk that he has been in and finding some kind of a way to get back to some sense of normalcy. But John Dee's not the reason why Insomnia had lashed out when we see the flashback of him through Dead Man's eyes. Insomnia is so dead set on taking down the Justice League. It's because of the events of Dark Crisis. Around the time of the events of Dark Crisis, the Justice League was revealed to be Quotey Fingers dead by Black Adam at the end of Justice League #75. However, as we know with superheroes and things of this nature, no superhero really truly stays dead. And as a matter of fact, the Justice League were not dead. They were all transferred to various pocket realities, the very same pocket realities Pariah was using to fuel his new multiverse. But all of the heroes of the Justice League broke out of those pocket realities and Quotey Fingers returned to life. And this is what triggered Insomnia, and he seems very upset at the idea that the superheroes, the gods among us in the DC Comics universe, were able to die and come back what felt like to him so easily, and seemed to lament the idea that they got some sort of special treatment and that normal people don't get to have do-overs the way that the heroes do. Now, he never specifically says exactly who it is he misses or what exactly it is that he's missing. If you go back to Night Terrors #1, there was a certain memory that Deadman was really close to unearthing, and just as he was about to unearth it, Insomnia had forced Deadman out of his mind. And what we see in that memory are just vague shadows, but one could easily pick out that this is Insomnia's family. We see someone who looks eerily like Insomnia holding hands with what are presumably his wife and 3 children of various ages. I get the impression that something happened in the DC Comics universe, whether it was just a freak accident or the result of something even remotely related to some event going on in DC Comics that also happened to involve superheroes, but something happened to that family that he once had, and that family is gone. That family is no longer with us. Insomnia has lost everything. And the notion that he can lose everything and the superheroes who lose their lives just come back willy-nilly, meanwhile he has to suffer no longer having the family, his wife, his children, who he loved dearly in his life, it sounds like he takes that personally. That explains a bit more why Insomnia is so dead set on haunting the heroes of the Justice League. I mean, yeah, he wants to get the Nightmare Stone from him, but I think in this issue, it's become plainly obvious to Insomnia who truly has it. I had hypothesized that it's probably been with Deadman this whole time and he just didn't know it, but in this issue it seems like there are some hints and nods to that notion. But anyways, that's everything I wanted to talk about with Night Terrors #2. If you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure you tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I put out. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, let me know what you thought about Night Terrors #2. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.